Welcome to Critical Junction, episode 20. I'm Mark.
Well, I am Luke.
Hi, I'm Jill.
So today we're talking about the Akashic Records, but before we get into that, let's talk about our previous episode for a minute. So if anyone didn't tune into that one, episode 19 centered around the time-traveling Donald Trump conspiracy theory, and has quickly become our most popular episode to date for some reason.
Yeah,
crazy. I don't get it.
Yeah, it's
we've
pretty
got
strange.
twice as much interest in that video as anything else we posted. So
And really fast too, right?
Yeah.
To date, it's been out for 2 weeks, and we have 155 views on this bad boy.
Wow.
I don't know
That
why.
seems crazy.
yeah.
What's wrong with you? No, I don't really. I don't know. It is kind of a funny thing. Like, we're listening to other people just have conversations and not having conversations ourselves. I guess.
Yeah.
Like it's living vicariously through people. But I guess it's a bit like eavesdropping.
That's
Sure.
it. It's like eavesdropping. I mean, my favorite thing to do as a kid was just to sit around the table and listen to the
Listen to
grown-ups.
the adults. Yeah,
chit-chat,
right. Ears a flapping.
Yeah, and not having a clue about half of what they were talking about, but still.
Just like me with you guys. Yeah, it's great.
So, I guess thank you to everyone who
Thanks.
made that episode so popular. Even if you just tuned into the first 10 minutes.
They're not listening to this one.
Yeah, this one's not going to be as entertaining as episode 19, but...
Well, it may be as entertaining, but it might not be as interesting. I think it won't be as interesting just because I haven't heard anything on 4chan about it. So, that's it.
I think this one's going to be the best. That's
Oh,
not
that was your Trump?
That was my Trump.
That was your
guys.
Trump? Wow!
You visually saw it. I was actually doing Alec Baldwin.
That's right. You were doing Alec Baldwin doing President Donald J. Trump.
It's great.
It's gonna be great.
It's going to be great.
Beautiful.
Oh, that's pretty good, Jill.
Yeah, was that good?
Well, it's better than ours.
I'm going to stop now. But yeah, check out our other episodes. All of them have some entertainment value to them.
Yeah.
Like, the famous Mandela blouse. Or Luke learning a new word. Panacea.
Panacea.
Oh, yeah.
That's fun.
Panacea.
Sure.
I feel like I want to eat some panacea. Like, it sounds like something...
Sounds like a meal.
Like an Italian meal of some kind. Like, I would really enjoy some panacea right now.
I'm thinking it's more like something. It's like something.
I like the lisp when you say tapas. You have to put that lisp in there, right?
For me, it sounds like
I would
something.
like
That,
some tapas.
something that comes out of the womb with the child. That like the.
Oh, yeah, right.
And the doctor's going, "You don't eat it. Like, what are you doing?"
But the alternative doctors say you do eat it.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
have
yeah.
to eat the panacea.
Oh, we should have talked about that during our alternative medicine episode.
What, eating? What is it?
Eating placenta.
It's placenta. I was gonna pancreas. No, it's not the pancreas.
Pancreas, placenta, panacea.
Alright. So yeah, thank you for listening to episode 19, making it so unusually popular. Or inexplicably popular, I guess. Please continue to listen to our current episodes as well. So yeah, back to today's topic. I was recently watching an episode of Ancient Aliens because I needed something stupid to yell out for about an hour.
You needed that.
You said that last time. You're running out of excuses for watching Ancient Aliens.
And, yeah,
we're not buying it anymore, Mark.
Okay, fine, I'm addicted to the damn show. Can't stop watching this piece of drivel. Anyway, they somehow tied the Akashic Records into ancient alien wisdom and other such nonsense, and how alien civilizations store their information in the Akashic Records for people to access and gain more knowledge about the universe and all that kind of thing. So I thought, what the fuck? Let's do an episode on this bullshit. So here we are, and that's what we're talking about today. The Akashic Records, cosmic consciousness. Maybe we'll throw in some ancient aliens in there just for the hell of it.
Okay.
Okay, so could you guys find much on these Akashic Records? Like,
Unsurprisingly, I wasn't able to find anything that wasn't loaded with woo or from some new age website, but so I had to rely on our favorite Wikipedia,
right.
Which describes the Akashic Records as a compendium of all human events, thoughts, words, emotions, and intent ever to have occurred in the past, present, or future. So the Akashic Records were popularized by Madame Blavatsky, one of the co-founders of the Theosophical Society, which we'll talk about later on once we get to that. But for the time being, what are your opening thoughts on the concept of the Akashic Records and or cosmic consciousness? Is this something that's plausible, or is it just complete hokum, as I'm want to believe?
Well, I immediately thought of Carl Jung and some of his archetypal ideas, and I was thinking to myself, it's possible that as human beings all having the same sort of brain, that we could have, in a sense,
Patterns.
Yeah, patterns. We could have dreams that are similar and things like that. So I mean, supposedly, the Buddha legend has it had this sort of experience where he had a vision of evolution from cellular level to Pow, him underneath the tree meditating.
Is that how he described it originally?
I'm not exactly sure. I don't want to say he described it this way. But
Wait, supposedly who did?
The Buddha.
The Buddha. Oh, the Buddha.
The guy. The one. No, the
I thought you meant Bill Buddha.
No, not Bill Buddha.
He's awesome.
But Siddhartha something, whatever his
Gautama.
name is. Yeah, that guy.
Okay.
So
he wouldn't have, because evolution as a concept
he
didn't
did
exist
describe
yet.
it as, like, now we look at it and it's evolution. That's what he was talking about.
Okay,
And so he did say...
I would have put more stock into that if he had, had that vision and described evolution as evolution using the terms that evolutionary biologists use. Then I'd be like, holy fuck, this guy has some kind of...
Yeah, but those terms didn't exist.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
But
if he'd had a vision from some otherworldly plane about this kind of thing and described it using the proper terminology that we use now, that would mean something.
Well, I believe it is described as, like, from the muck, the goo to simple life forms to more advanced life forms.
Sure.
Like, he had that vision.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, like, if he had described it with the amount of precision that scientists do.
No, but then the theory would just be credited to him instead of to whoever actually came up with it many centuries later.
No, but like, if he backed up his vision using the terminology, then I might put more stock into, like, ideas of visions or some kind of higher level consciousness or knowledge.
Yeah, that's the kind of problem with any type of, like, prophecy or vision and stuff like that, is that it kind of has to be described in very general terms or metaphorical terms, and in that sense, you can sort of project it or map it onto just about anything, or at least a wide variety of distinct things. You know what I mean? Like,
just the very definition of the Barnum statement, right? If you make a general enough statement, then anyone can relate to it, and your prophecy is therefore confirmed.
Yeah. And that I mean, it's like with the supposed prophecies in these Ingersoll Lockwood Trump books, talking about a president that is populist and then people revolt and stuff. I mean, I don't know how closely it actually does like exclusively relate to our particular circumstance right now. Like it could essentially apply to any situation in which you have some kind of political upheaval and a sort of autocratic type of figure. It's super general, and most of our history is littered with autocrats and revolutions, and so I don't know. To say in the future a revolution will happen and there will be an autocrat. No duh. Yeah.
Bill Buddha, man.
Exactly. Like, if he'd said there will be a president named Donald, let's say, just to keep it in the vague range of prophecies, right? President Donald will become an autocrat and people will revolt against him in the early part of the 21st century.
Yeah, but he doesn't say that.
No, he doesn't say that. So, yeah, there's that.
Anytime you actually do inject something that specific, it's going to be wrong, and so that's why we don't know of any prophecies
Right.
that have such specific information with like an actual freaking date and like a name of an individual and a place. You know, like that never happens.
Right.
What you have is like maybe the mention of a place that exists, but there will be no hard date or specific individual. You know, there'll
Super
be
vague
something
in
like
general.
somebody with the letter E in his name will come along. Ooh.
So okay, so what are these Akashic records? Like, what is the record here? Like, what have they recorded? Because
It's
I mean,
supposed to, like, they're supposed to contain all of human knowledge throughout all of history, past, present, and future. Which is why they're saying that, you know, psychics and whatever can access this by entering a higher level of consciousness through meditation or other means, and
Yeah, but it's
produce,
not psychics.
No,
It's
well,
everybody.
Right. Okay. Everybody can, but psychics are attributed in some circumstances, like Edgar Casey, as having accessed the Akashic records and came up with all these different prophecies or whatever. You know.
Edgar Casey also said, though, that there are as many psychic phenomena as there are individuals, or there's possibility of as much of a variety of psychic phenomena
Right.
as there are.
oh yeah, he went out there and he counted them.
I guess so.
Yeah.
He made an Excel spreadsheet. And,
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
my problem with prophets and seers and whatever is, you know, well, first of all, what I mentioned earlier is the lack of specificity whenever they're making their prophecies. But also, when people are examining what they're prophesying, they always tend to latch on to the hits and never the misses.
Yeah.
Right? And they use that as a justification for, oh, well, see, they predicted this, but what about all the other shit they got wrong?
Classic confirmation bias fallacy.
Right, exactly. Edgar Casey is a famous example of that. You know, he...
Never heard of him. Sorry. Go on.
Yeah.
No, that was my point.
Oh, okay. So, what do we know about Edgar Casey?
He played. Is this the guy that played baseball and he struck out? There was another Casey.
No, that's a different Casey.
different.
Yeah. Casey at the bat. No.
Well, he fucking struck out this Casey, anyways, right? No, what do we know?
I mean,
about this Casey yet?
okay, so I know very little about Edgar Casey. I know that he was known as the sleeping prophet.
So a lazy
and
prophet.
He was.
Gotcha.
He was initially some kind of
I think it was
Christian.
like some kind of doctor or something.
Doctor of Christ.
Like a theologist or
Maybe,
something.
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Doctor of Christ. Yeah.
Doctor of Christ. I don't know too much about him either. Like, I just did some very, very brief research.
And
came up with the
this
same
was like
information.
when, like in the 40s or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think so.
and people were coming to visit him because he could have apparently like had visions and about people and tell them things about themselves or their future.
Right.
Basically, he's a classic like psychic, right? Like,
Well, have you guys ever
but somehow
had...
he had like a much more broad kind of cult following than your average psychic for some reason.
So people seem to have believed him, is what you're getting at.
Yeah.
Right.
I think because he couched a lot of his language in these more sort of general metaphysical terms, rather than specifically making claims about being a psychic. He would talk about this kind of idea of going into a meditative state and just everybody having like a soul,
Right.
and accessing another.
Now,
general
speaking
kind
of meditative states, this is an awesome segue. Going back to the Ancient Aliens episode that this is all based on, they brought on our good pal Deepak Chopra at one point.
Oh, you guys love him.
He's so awesome. And they hooked him up to like some kind of brainwave pattern thing where they could, they asked him to go into a deep trance-like meditative state and examined.
And they
his
discovered it's completely flatline.
No, they yeah, because he's fucking mindless, right?
Well, that'd be a great meditation if you actually were.
Yeah, that's right. That would actually give him credibility.
But they recorded different areas of his brain lighting up whenever he's doing his deep meditation thing.
Right.
Which means absolutely nothing, because neuroscience knows that there is a noticeable difference in brainwave activity when someone is deeply meditating. There are like noted benefits to doing that. That doesn't mean that you're accessing a higher level of consciousness or a different plane of existence. You're just you're turning inward and you're activating different parts of your brain that are normally dormant. Right? It's called imagining.
That's the thing that that kind of bothers me about a lot of this. Like, how do you tell the difference between like
a psychic vision
or information that's being presented to you by the universe from like outside of you, kind of thing,
right?
Quote unquote, versus things that your imagination is actually coming up with.
Yeah, like as far as we know, and as far as science can tell us, there are no thoughts outside the brain for obvious reasons. Right? Consciousness.
But this is based. This is based on, like, if there's no other basic assumption, they say like the one piece of dogma that they've got. Actually, this might actually be something more related to Monroe. I don't know if you know about
From Too Close for Comfort?
No. There's this thing called the Monroe Institute, and they do something very similar to the Akashic Record thing. I think it's exactly the same thing. They just don't call it the Akashic Record. And in this thing, it's called the Gateway Experience.
Right.
And for this model or whatever, the one piece of dogma that you have to keep in mind is that you assume that your mind exists separate from your physical being or your spirit, your soul. You basically assume you have a soul. That's the one piece of dogma, they say.
So right away I have a problem with that kind of thing. Like, I guess I'm coming from the Buddhist Taoism point of view on meditation, where they would say, and if you have visions, ignore that shit. Because that's not what you're doing. That's just something you're seeing along the way, and get past that kind of thing.
Yeah. That sounds like it's a lot more realistic in terms of maybe assuming that it's your imagination working.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. Well, and it also makes sense. Like I was talking
Crowley
about...
had a similar... he said something similar about that, his practices. Like, whatever you encounter while doing this, forget about it. That's not
exactly.
why you're doing
Oh,
it.
yeah, really?
Yeah. Well, the idea is to focus your mind, and so that's just another distraction kind of thing.
Right.
No, exactly.
And that was ironic. Okay, so here's something. So yesterday I decided to actually do some of these guided tours of the Akashic Records.
Nice.
So I listened.
Gilles is now enlightened everyone.
So I did a couple of these meditation
Go on.
things. And basically it's like a self-hypnosis kind of video, or just meditation. So they've got like that stupid new age music that plays in all of those videos, which is fine, it kind of washes over you and you can ignore it as a lot easier, I guess, than other kinds of music.
Should we be playing that music over
over this whole episode? And so they just kind of get you to get comfortable and then just relax. So they tell you to breathe in deeply, and then to imagine sort of a wave of relaxation starting from the top of your head and then kind of washing over you, like over your forehead, over your face, and
Man, I'm getting relaxed just listening to
your
this.
shoulders.
And once you're relaxed, you give us your PIN number.
Yeah, I woke up this morning and my bank account was completely cleaned out. It's amazing.
I felt great about it.
I'm completely free.
Did you get any emails from Nigerian princes by any chance?
Well, the first video I listened to was.
So your experience of doing the thing.
Yeah.
Okay,
did you get anything transhuman or otherworldly?
So I'm kind of interested in meditation. I don't do meditation, but it's something that I've been thinking recently. Like maybe it would be kind of kind of beneficial to like relax the mind sometimes, and like I'm sure it has psychological effects and stuff like that.
It's been proven to have beneficial, benefits.
Right.
Beneficial benefits.
Beneficial benefits.
Beneficial benefits. Wow.
Yeah. So and it's not meditation isn't something that that the more woo-woo kind of metaphysical people actually own. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not just theirs. You've got Sam Harris who talks at length about meditation, and even the title of his podcast, Waking Up, is actually from a book of his that's about meditation and not about like the other stuff that he talks about, like religion and morality or whatever. So anyway, I did this, and I think I was actually able to get myself to relax, and you can kind of get yourself into a space where you get sort of a tingly kind of like complete relaxation. You know, you can make yourself do it just by thinking about it. And at one point during this, so in these videos specifically, they get you in that space, and then they tell you to imagine like coming upon a temple that's like a great library.
They want you to have an orgasm on a temple.
Oh no. So oh my god. No, so you imagine like you're coming into a great library, and then you walk through the library, and you look for like so in this library there's supposed to be like these giant books everywhere along the walls, and you look for one that's glowing, and they tell you this in the video. You know, the very soothing kind of voice tells you every once in a while these little things to think about. So you imagine a book that's glowing, you go get it, you open it up, and this would be your Akashic record. And you open it up, and you're supposed to try and see in there information, or you let it give you information that you want, you know. So you ask it a question. So in one of the videos that I was listening to,
Magic 8-Ball.
Yeah, exactly. And the question that one of the videos suggested, I asked myself is, what is the most important thing I need to know and understand at this time? That's a very kind of open question. It's not like asking specifically, what number should I play in the lottery next week? You know? Mm-hmm. No, so it's very general, and so you just kind of ask that question, and you're supposed to be in your mind looking at your Akashic record, and you're in these Akashic record videos. They're specifically kind of saying that what you're seeing in the Akashic record is your past lives or an earlier part of your own life. They didn't actually talk about the future thing, mm-hmm. even though as we just read from the description of the Akashic Records, is that it's supposed to be a record of all things, right, past, present, and future.
Everything.
But in these videos,
it's
timeless. But in these videos, they're really only telling you to look into the past or something, or into your past lives.
Right.
Which is weird. But I felt like I couldn't read when I was doing that. Like in my mind, one of the things they talk about with this meditation stuff is the left brain, right brain kind of model, where your right brain is all about like this more spiritual and metaphorical thing, and your left brain is your more logical side and your more rational side and stuff.
Recent studies have started debunking that entire concept.
Okay. So, well, when I was doing this thing, I mean, it's probably completely coincidental, but as I was in this imaginating kind of space, and in this library and relaxing and stuff like this, I felt like I could only feel the right side of my body. Like the left side of my body, I was just blind to it. And they say that with the right brain, left brain, that basically your right brain actually is more connected to your opposite side of your body.
Yeah.
Right? And your left brain is connected to the right side. So I mean,
And
I guess you could say metaphorically that I'm like way too stuck in my literal, logical, rational left brain stuff. So that's why I could only imagine my right side, you know?
Yeah.
Is this when you look down at the book and realized it was Tente au Congo or something like that?
Tente au Congo. No, I just saw like in my imagination it was like a jumble of gold light and stuff, but I couldn't actually get any like distinct images or letters or whatever to say anything or
This is all power of suggestion stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I'm thinking of, because I just read the Exorcist
But that's the thing.
book, and
Okay.
in the book, the priest,
Sorry, you would.
The Exorcist.
Oh, The Exorcist.
So we've all seen the movie, but read
Yeah.
the book, and the priest finds out that there is a book in the household that mentions exorcism, and he theorizes that she probably read it, and so therefore is making
there
that
you
right.
go.
So it's in her
Yeah.
consciousness now,
There you
kind of
go.
thing. So
Yeah,
and-
like all these
I
experiences.
find it's kind of disappointing that they didn't include that in the movie, because that would
That would've
kind
been
of
awesome.
interesting.
Yeah,
'Cause
no.
it introduces this little speck of
yeah,
doubt in the
right.
whole thing.
Yeah.
in the book, it's all psychologically and science-based, right up until the very end when the other priest shows up and goes, "No, it's a demon, let's go." and the other priest is totally blown away by it, that he would even use that word,
See,
like
that is
demon. Like,
that is a perfect allegory for religion across all time. You know, progress. Religion comes in and smashes it all to pieces. Yeah, that's awesome. But yeah, like all of these experiences are totally subjective and open to suggestion, and that's why I have such an issue believing in any kind of credibility about them.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's that easy to make yourself envision these things, and if it's that easy for someone, in the example of The Exorcist, let's say, to read a book and then be influenced by it, to behave in a certain fashion, then to me that just means all of this is total bullshit, but yet people put stock into it because it gives them some kind of comfort. It makes them think there's something...
Or confidence.
Yeah, or confidence. It makes them think that there's something more to existence than just getting up in the morning and going to work and coming home and going to bed.
Well, and that is pretty terrible, really. Like, the things that we've done with existence is pretty fucking terrible. No, am I wrong here?
Well, I mean,
Capitalism,
we
guys.
kind of
This is
don't
where we
have a
got
choice.
capitalism.
We do what we do with existence because that's what we can do.
Right.
You know, like...
Well, we can also do other things. We're just not.
Sorta.
No?
I mean...
We're pretty bound by, you know...
I don't think we're masochists.
Pretty bound, but I mean...
I think we're doing what we're generally capable of doing. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, but it's kind of like saying, that shitty band that writes shitty music is doing the same thing that this other awesome band is doing that's writing awesome music. Like, I think that we're doing this, but we can also do much better. No?
no, because I think that there just plain is. That brings me to another thing that bugs me. So I think that there is variety just in the relative abilities of different individuals, right? We all are distinct on different levels. Like some of us are better at languages, some of us are better at music.
Sure, right.
And
The idea that we are actually unique.
and yet
Yes.
at the same time, within each of those kind of like categorizations, like, okay, this group of people over here is better at music, but within that group there's like people who are better at music than others, you know, and
Right.
and
better
I
is all
don't think
relative
everyone
anyway, so it comes
is
to
I
that
don't think
stuff.
everyone is capable at coming to exactly the same.
You and your coming. At the same time, God, that's a lot of pressure, man.
Jill is coming a lot on today's episode.
Oh my god. Okay, jeez. So, what I was getting to before we were sidetracked.
What were you were coming to?
What I was getting to was that in these Akashic Records type of ideas, or these ideas of you accessing your previous lives and stuff like that, it presumes that everybody's got the same capacity to do that, or to even understand these kinds of instructions, you know, and yet there are there's just realities about mental health that prevent certain people from
reaching that kind of state.
From understanding any of this stuff,
Yeah.
you know, and I don't know.
Like the idea is riddled with problems. Like it presupposes the existence of past lives. It also presupposes the ability to enter another realm. It's a lot of assumptions and presuppositions going right into it, right out the gate.
I also don't understand what do these Akashic Records really reveal? I mean, so what if a schizo has a dream about the history of sandwiches? Like, so what? Like, what is that? I saw the vision of sandwiches and all the sandwiches ever, you know, like.
Yeah.
And.
Yeah, like
there's a lot of room for all
I
sorts
didn't
of
get any
imagining.
answer to the question, what's the most important thing I need to know at this time?
Okay, so did you get anything out of your experience at all?
So, other than the actual great, relaxing, physical experience of meditation, when I was in there was this super awesome feeling where you can kind of imagine yourself weightless in like a super dense sphere that doesn't weigh anything. You know, it's like something that not dense but
giant
massive.
Photon?
It's like
These are some pretty interesting visions that you had in a sense.
so imagine you could like imagine like a little speck right in front of you, and you can pinch it between your two fingers and like move it around really easily, but this speck
Are you talking about your
is
penis
like
again?
is like connected to the entire solar system or something like that, and you can just move it around like it's nothing.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like that's just the center of this imagined sphere or something that you can.
Okay.
But
Meanwhile, Jill totally did access his Akashic Records.
that speck is in you. Like you're that speck. You're the center of this thing, this place that you're imagining, right?
The
Because
sphere
it tells you
space.
when you're going into this meditative state. The instructions are like, imagine that you're connected through your spine down to the center of the earth, and through the top of your head to the.
It's a pretty classic
cosmology.
description. Like
Right?
A lot of meditative
And
practices use
it's
that
like
same example.
what's that movie with Hugh Jackman?
The Fountain.
The Fountain.
Yeah, The Fountain. So they have that in there, right? Where he's like connected
Right.
to the planet, and then like there's the space above him and
Right.
everything. So
In his jogging pants. I love that visual. It was almost like that movie
his jogging
had
pants.
the visuals first and then went, and we'll write a story around the visuals that I'm going to present to you guys.
that was kind of an awesome movie, though.
I
really
liked it a
it.
lot.
Yeah.
I really liked The Fountain.
Yeah. Aronofsky. What was the last movie that Aronofsky did that was like way slumming it? I found. Wasn't it like Egypt or something like that? Or no, it was.
Yeah, right. The Moses one there, was it not? Or
Noah?
Noah.
That's the one. Yeah. So that had some interesting things in it, but it was really a lot more conventional Hollywood blockbuster than anything else I've seen. That.
I haven't seen it. I heard it's terrible.
I kind of liked it because it's the Bible meets Lord of the Rings.
It's kind of the Bible meets Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. It's fun.
Well, now I have
it's
to
fun.
say-
It's fun, but it's not as
It's not The Fountain.
it's not as like emotionally kind of compelling, I guess, than his other than either The Fountain or what's that movie with the drug addicts?
What is it called?
I keep thinking The Downward Spiral just because that movie is about like everybody in it.
Yeah,
Just
what is it called?
downward
Jared
spiraling.
Leto on heroin, you know?
Shit. I don't remember.
Come on, listeners, what's the movie called?
Please leave it in the comments so we can know.
Requiem for a Dream.
There you go. Still.
See, I just accessed my Akashic record. I can do it
And that's what it gives you,
instantaneously now.
Requiem
by
for
the
a
way.
Dream.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway,
Yeah, the Akashic Records.
So might I add though that our first forays into meditating is still just the beginnings of meditation.
Sure,
you know, like we're not good at it.
No,
it's
no,
actually
exactly,
very difficult.
yeah.
You
Right,
know?
yeah.
Yeah.
And as you get better, it will reap more
Maybe,
rewards
yeah.
and things like that. You know.
Well, that's why people in this episode, when they were examining Deepak Chopra's meditative state, they're all super impressed. Oh my God, he's some kind of master at doing this because look at how his brain is reacting.
Right.
Well, no, you know.
And yes.
Yes and no, but like those.
Now I like it. Yes and no. Good, good.
Those brainwaves are typical of anyone meditating.
Right.
So it doesn't mean he's like some kind of spiritual master or something. It just means he knows how to meditate. You know. Yeah, there are certain levels of meditation where you get different types of results, but they all start with that benchmark of different regions of the brain firing in different ways than they normally would. You know, that's just a fact of meditation.
Yeah.
So when I was, where I got this thing about the gateway experience, which I said is identical to the Akashic Records thing. I got this from some post in Our Conspiracy on Reddit. Some guy, like nobody noticed it. It got like maybe 5 upvotes or something. But this guy talks about finding in the CIA FOIA request documents that have been released, like a Freedom of Information Act request. There's like a briefing, sort of like an essay or whatever, a briefing about the gateway experience from the CIA. Somebody with the CIA, some guy who's actually in the military there because he had like a rank like corporal or something like that. He was asked to look into the viability or the realistic
goats.
whether there's any kind of realistic or useful basis to the concept. You know, I guess maybe because they look into anything that might be helpful for intelligence or whatever. And so the guy talks about he talks about the existing things like hypnosis, which we know works, or which we know has something, has applications.
The power of suggestion, yeah.
The power of suggestion and meditation. He talks about meditation. But he also goes into like the theoretical physics stuff about how like how that dual concept of matter versus energy being a little bit metaphorical, because ultimately when you go small enough, everything is energy, right? Like everything is just oscillating strings. If you
subscribe to string theory,
which most people do at this point, I think.
Most
theoretical physicists do, I think.
They're kind of split down the middle.
Are they really?
Yeah. String theory. Yeah. Like some people are like all for it, but others are more classically inclined because they say we can't test it, therefore it's not really a valid theory at the moment. But then again, you have other physicists
you sort of can test it.
The
right?
math
that's
is there.
That's what the Large Hadron Collider is for.
Yeah, and like the math is there. The math backs up string
That's
theory.
it. Yeah.
And if you want to go deeper than M theory, even is more refined than just straight out string theory.
What's M theory?
It's a different kind of explanation for string theory, but it goes to a different
it's
level.
linked, and they talk about like the 11 dimensions.
Right, yeah. There's an 11th dimension on top of it to encompass the rest of the 10 subfolders of dimensions, I guess you can call them.
Subfolders.
Well, one of them is the library, right? Or the Akashic Records as well.
Which leads me to another point, and this is something that really bothers me, is because of how complicated stuff like string theory is, and M theory, and quantum mechanics. A lot of spiritualists and people like Deepak Chopra will use that, like we've mentioned before, as a kind of...
That's why I was bringing it up, actually, because you were talking about Chopra, and I wanted to bring it back to that.
Right. Yeah. They'll use it as a justification for... Well, quantum physics says... And this is... Chopra's especially guilty of using quantum
He's
physics.
all about bending that and counting on the ignorance of laymen.
Right. And it works.
Yeah.
He makes so much money off of this.
People love him for it. Like, it's crazy.
But just because something is hard to understand and something is complicated and obscure doesn't make it magic.
Yeah.
It just means it.
It also doesn't mean that all of a sudden everybody's assumptions about what it might mean are equally valid.
Exactly.
Which is what he counts on. He says, no, because we don't understand it, that means that it's totally possible that what I'm presenting to you is exactly the case.
Right.
My model or whatever.
And there was no balancing force on this show to counter what he was saying. There was no quantum physicist to challenge, well, that's not what this means, you crazy motherfucker.
So, have you guys ever had any sort of prophetic experience?
Prophetic experience?
I have
dream?
I had one.
So go on. Yeah,
So
tell your story.
This was right before Pope Benedict was elected.
Okay.
And I'll explain my reasoning of why I came to this conclusion and after I finish the story, but I had a dream the night before his election saying that the next pope will be 70, I can't remember how old he was at the time, 77 or 78?
Okay.
But anyway, like, the next pope will be 77, 78, insert actual age here, from Germany. So I wake up in the morning, I go downstairs to tell my dad that I had this dream about the next pope being this age from Germany, just as the radio comes on to announce that Pope Benedict, 77/78-year-old German, had been elected as the next pope. So I predicted the coming of Pope Benedict, which is awesome.
Wow.
But my explanation for it is I most likely heard something on the radio or on TV prior
about who
to
was
that.
even in the running.
Who's in the running, who's most likely to be elected. And that influenced my dream, and that's what happened.
Probably.
Okay.
So that's my prophetic experience.
How about you, Jill? Anything?
No, I don't think so.
That was easy.
For myself, I on occasion have what seems to be dreams that seem to be prophetic. Like
Okay.
I will meet people in my dreams before I meet them in reality, and it's happened a few times in my life.
Yeah. Okay, I've had dreams or experiences like that where I feel like the figure in my dream is a representation of the person I met later.
Yeah.
But I remember distinctly that the figure in my dream was indistinct. Mm-hmm. Like it had no specific facial features. So
you're retroactively applying.
I'm retroactive. Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, I hear you. For myself, for some reason, I always remember them by their hair.
Me too. Yeah.
I don't know what's up with that.
Okay,
but was the hair not distinct?
Yeah, that's right. So the hair is kind of distinct, I guess. But no more distinct than an eye color. Like you've got what?
Well,
like 4 eye colors that you can basically categorize anybody in.
Well,
so
hold on, hair is more than eye color. Or sorry, it's more than just color.
I
like
guess.
It's shape and stuff like
but
that.
I mean, if I think about the hair in my dream, I know several people that have hair just like the person in my dream. So specifically, I had a dream of a girl who Ella could actually match very well with, from just the hair, the length of the hair,
What's
and
her
the
number?
blonde. What's her number? Her number's my number. She's my wife.
Oh, your wife.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So, I mean, to me, it seems fairly obvious that I just chose, because I have romantic sensibilities, so it's obvious to me that when I did ultimately meet Ella and we hit it off and we built a relationship
immediately.
I was able to go back to this dream that I have in my memory that was really vivid and compelling and entertaining, and I was able to say, oh hey, she could fit there.
See, the brain is amazing at filling in the blanks, right?
Yeah.
It's a well-known fact that we only consciously absorb a tiny amount of information that the brain processes on a daily basis, right? So in the cases of dreams like that, we have a vague recollection of something that happened in our subconscious whenever we were asleep and dreaming. And then when we wake up and something kind of fits that pattern that we had in the dream, even remotely, the brain tries to fill in the blanks and apply what you're seeing to what it experienced subconsciously. I think that's how one might explain that, like that.
I mean, so does that work for you with your kind of hair figure predictions?
Yes. Well, the truth is, I actually do think, Jill, that you recognized your wife when you met her. You went, oh, like you guys decided to get married way earlier than is sane.
That is sane.
no, but it's true. You guys met each other, and if I understand correctly, by the end of the weekend, you were going, oh, like, we're gonna get married, it seems, kind of thing. Like, it was...
Well, not quite. There was a much longer kind of...
Did you court her properly?
Did I court her properly? I don't know. I suppose I courted her.
Whether or not it was
Whether
proper.
or not it was proper.
Well,
Might have been improper.
I guess there would have to be a willingness to accept that it's even possible before we can even, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
And basically you guys are saying you're not. You don't want to, or you're not going
No,
to, or you just can't. Or
that's not what I'm saying.
What I'm saying is unconvinced.
Right.
As usual.
What I'm saying is that the alternate and more reliable explanation actually works there. So why violate Occam's razor and assume that it's the more wild metaphysical explanation?
Right. But what I'm getting at is that there may be some evidence there of something.
Okay.
It may be. It
yeah.
may be that you had a dream about your wife before you met her.
Sure.
And it may be that I've had dreams about people before I've met
Okay.
them as well, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right that there is an element of realizing it later,
Yeah.
you know, and then filling in the gap and remembering. Like, memory is a big problem anyways. We can't
Right.
really remember things. you know.
Yeah.
But for myself, in dreams and what seems to be prophetic dreams, they immediately feel different. And I often have these dreams before there is a big event. If someone's to die or something like that, or something big is going to happen, I have a dream that seems different from the other dreams.
Yeah.
And it's and it is.
I'll agree
is
that
abstract.
our different dreams have different qualities, and that's why we remember certain dreams and not others.
Right, they stand out, and you do
They
remember.
stand out, but the fact that they're standing, like it's a bit of a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy type of thing going on there. In my mind, it could be, at least, that because I had this dream that also, in my mind, I imagine had a quality of being more vivid or more compelling. Now I'm looking for anything to actually be able to
Right.
To apply to it. Yeah.
apply it to, you know. So that it's again confirmation bias type of thing.
Man, well, we can almost say that having any preconceived notions of anything ruins our experience of things.
Maybe
If we could come in and experience the world all
and
baby-minded.
that's like what they say is the difference between the left brain and the right brain too, is that the right brain is just kind of more like vulnerable to suggestions and just open to like anything, whereas the left brain is constantly like analyzing and
explaining
and doubting and questioning and it's sort of like a gatekeeper to it's actually like a gatekeeper to the right brain.
Right.
So normally, like, information first goes through the left brain to kind of identify it and analyze it, and then let it through to the right brain to see what the right brain can do with it. But when you go into meditation or hypnosis, it's about sort of disarming the left brain so that the suggestions can go straight to the right brain.
Yeah, like the right brain is kind of described as that screaming toddler who's trying to reach for everything at the same time, whereas the left brain is the parent holding them by the scruff of the neck, right?
Oh, nice.
Like, don't touch that. What are you doing? Just put the puppy down.
I like that visual.
Don't eat that. Don't put it in your mouth. What are you, damn kids?
What are you thinking? Are you Luke? Are you?
I am.
No.
Yes, no, I am. Yes.
You're just making fun of my searching for words here.
I'm sorry. If everyone can see, I'm also pointing.
I'm deeply
pointing
hurt.
at him.
I'm deeply hurt. No. So yeah.
I, for myself and dreams, I seem to have had some experiences which lead me to believe, not necessarily, but that it is possible that dreams don't seem to be locked in time like we are, sort of thing. Okay. I think it does have access to a timelessness, almost as if we've already lived our life. I often think of that Nietzschean idea of the infinite, what is it, that will experience the same life over and over and over again in exactly the same way.
Okay.
The infinite return.
Yeah, the infinite return idea, sort of thing. It's basically meant to be a mantra that's meant to lead you to a firm life and say yes to every moment in life, kind of thing. That being the idea.
See, there's something strangely compelling about what you just said about dreams not being bound in time, because I'm going to sound like Deepak Chopra here, but in quantum physics, or even when you talk about things like special relativity, or general relativity for that matter, the universe or time itself can be viewed as not just like slices of instances that we're percepting or being aware of in a given moment. It's everything all at once,
right,
if you will, and we're just noticing slices of that as we live our lives.
Right. Almost as if life itself and existence occurred in a flash, and we're now experiencing it in slow motion, and that's what life is. It's almost residual from what's already happened.
Like the whole timeline happened at once, and then now we're just like choosing to start from the beginning or what we call the beginning and move through it in some kind of linear direction, but it's almost arbitrary that we do that.
Yeah.
Some deep shit, man.
Is it? I don't know.
but I mean, I don't think so, because we can't actually look into the future. The future has literally not happened yet.
No,
There's
you're right.
nothing there to see.
And we don't know what universe of future we're looking into, because the universe splits at the now into infinite possibilities.
Yeah, like if you subscribe to the to Everett's many worlds theory, then yeah, exactly, right. Which of those realities hasn't happened yet? I don't know, it's yeah.
Well, I don't think the future hasn't occurred, but it's kind of like it has and it hasn't at the same time. It's paradoxical.
What suggests that it has? Well, like that's the thing I don't get about this.
Yeah, I don't
this
know what
idea
I'm
of
talking about, man.
No, you're talking.
I'm just talking. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Isn't that what we're here for?
Yeah, it'd be nice if that made sense, though. You know?
It's the whole premise of the show.
The whole premise of the show is three guys talking out of their asses.
That's why there's no visuals associated with the show.
We all have our pants down, bent over right now, pointed at the microwave. No, the microphone.
The microwave. Wasn't there some kind of conspiracy theory about microwaves?
Probably.
No, I mean recently.
that they're bad?
No, something about Obama and microwaves.
Oh yeah, Trump said that Obama was spying on him through his microwave or something.
There you go.
Oh
Yeah.
my god, talk about tinfoil head.
Yeah.
Like, he's gonna be coming out there with like fucking tinfoil around his head going like, you gotta do this, guys, to protect your mind.
That would
Everyone.
be great.
There's a fun experiment you can do with a cell phone and a microwave. It sounds terrifying.
Oh, yeah.
Just
Yeah, if you put your cell phone in there and turn the microwave on, it blows up.
Well, there's that experiment.
This is a Samsung, it should just blow up anyway.
Like, due to the difference in wavelengths.
By the way, Samsung, if you want to call in.
If you want to sponsor the show. But due to the difference in wavelengths between microwaves and cell phone signals, that shield on the microwave door with all the holes in it, that's designed specifically so microwaves can't penetrate or to block the microwaves from coming in. But surprisingly, it works with a cell phone too. If you put your cell phone in a microwave, don't turn it on, you retard, but then call it, it won't get a signal because that shield is blocking the wave from the cell phone from
Is that essentially like a Faraday cage?
Essentially, yeah. Except instead of blocking radio signals, you're blocking microwaves. Yeah. So have fun with your microwaves out there, folks.
And your Samsung phones.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't blow
2 minutes.
So any closing thoughts on? We never actually mentioned Blavatsky in this, but whatever.
Who's Blavatsky?
Who's Blavatsky? You don't want to talk about it?
I'm tired of talking about it.
Alright. Look up Blavatsky, guys.
Yeah.
Keep there.
if you care. She was a fraud. That's my entire point.
Okay.
Did we talked about what we were supposed to talk about here on this episode? Yeah, okay, right. The Akashic...
Yeah,
I don't even know what it's called. The Akashic Records?
Akashic.
Kashi.
Akasha.
Kashi Records, everyone.
Akashic Records.
Any
Great cereal.
Any final thoughts on the Akashic Records, Cosmic Consciousness, Deepak Chopra?
I don't see how anything's solid. Like, come on, like we're accessing infinite records. It could be anything. Yeah, I just access it. There you go.
Yeah.
All the Smurf episodes. I just watched.
No, well, it's like with the Akashic guided record, the guided Akashic record experience that I did. They say, okay, so you ask it your question, and then they do the thing where they bring you out of your hypnotic state or whatever, and they go, so maybe you didn't get an answer there. Just in the next several days, something might come to you.
How convenient.
How convenient.
In the meantime, what's your PIN number?
What was your mother's maiden name, and who was your first pet? Just in case.
Just in case.
Luke, what about you? Any final thoughts on the issue?
My mom's last name is Kelly, and my pet was Buffy, my favorite pet.
Okay. All right.
So if anyone wants to steal Luke's identity,
PIN number 8776. No, I don't even know my PIN number.
He's got loads of nothing in his bank account anyway. So.
That is true. That is true.
Oh dear. As for myself, I remain, as usual, entirely skeptical of the entire thing.
I don't believe it.
Neither do I.
I don't believe it, but this subject at least gets me wanting to do more meditation.
That's, if anything...
Like, this brought something to me.
Right. If anything, if anyone's going to
I totally want to do that shit some more.
Okay, how about this? Let's do...
I can't be bothered to go to the gym, but I'll meditate in my living room.
Well, I mean, it is an exercise, right?
It's an exercise.
That
it's
you
an
will
exercise
get better
for
at.
your mind, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, would you be willing to go on with these Akashic experiments?
Sure, yeah.
Just to see if you get anything out of them.
That's right, yeah.
May I mention also...
I mean, because even metaphorical stuff is I guess meaningful, or we can bring meaning.
Any result is a result.
Any result is a result. There you go.
I was going to say that you were talking about the ancient alien thing, and something that's often mentioned by people that have close encounters with aliens is this idea that they do seem to be closer to God. They are more.
Oh yeah.
They are more evolved mentally.
Aliens aspect of this.
Whatever.
They're more. They seem to be more evolved, right? They're speaking to you like the Greys speak to you telepathically, and there's an immense sense of peace and all that fun stuff. You know, there's a compassion element there. You know.
Yeah.
That's all.
I mean, there's often this idea that aliens are actually us, are like our future evolved selves.
Right,
you know,
I've heard that.
Well, right. I see.
That they're not actually different or separate entities.
I'm all.
And you can actually. Okay, what?
Well, I was just going to say I'm all oneness of consciousness, guys.
Well,
so this all makes sense to me. Yeah, of course.
So either way, even if you don't literally think of it like as like the future of our specific species. These aliens.
It is still us.
You can also think about that whole idea that the oneness of the universe. We're all the same kind of like oscillating energy. You know, like we're all part of that same fabric.
Yeah.
And
star stuff. We're made of star stuff.
We're all made of star stuff.
So is garbage. So don't get your hopes up. Oh yeah.
On that note.
So we're all garbage. The Akashic Records are also garbage. I think. I don't know. Well, yeah.
Just meditate.
Just meditate.
Just meditate, everyone.
Just fucking meditate. There, like I said, there are beneficial benefits to meditation.
I'll say this about it: it's nice.
It is nice. It's nice.
It's real nice.
It's nice.
It's nice. It's relaxing. You get to feel all tingly. You shut off half your brain, I guess, or more than half sometimes.
Yeah.
Fall asleep, if you will. everyone should meditate. Sam Harris is a huge proponent of meditation, so...
Yeah.
Well, I don't think, having not practiced meditation, I don't think we're talking about meditation properly. Like, I don't think we know.
Maybe, no, yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's probably.
We're not approaching it
No.
with
Yeah,
any training
I mean,
or
it's a very
substance here.
superficial thing here. I did
Like,
a couple
it's
of
not-
meditation videos that they call meditation, but yeah.
aren't, probably.
that aren't, yeah.
Well, those are visualizations.
But I think it was
like
a
I
kind
did
of
this with
meditation
yoga
because
class.
I was able to have like sort of a physiological experience, at least in my mind. It felt like I had like the tingly sensation, and I
he had a
felt relaxed
physiological
and
experience in his mind, everyone, in his mind.
I perceived is what I'm saying. I perceived a physiological experience.
So you got something.
I got something out of it.
It's
Like,
a result.
felt good.
Felt good.
Yeah.
It was never mind, I was going to mention that orgasming on temples again.
I refuse to leave the show on that note. But I guess we have no choice then. Thanks,
No,
Luke.
It's alright.
I'm not rescuing you.
Damn it! Alright, fine. On that note,
I'm sorry. I guess I'm horny or something. I don't know what's
Maybe.
going on.
Yeah, it could be.
No, I don't think so. I'm a brat.
Oh,
Bit of a
okay.
brat.
Okay.
Low brain cells, a bit hungover, you know.
Just a smidge. Alright.
Just a smidge. Now Mark's talking about his penis.
Oh, come. Okay.
Oh, low blow! Below the belt.
I call him a smidge.
So that's the note we're leaving on.
Hey everyone, Mark's penis is called smidge.
Oh, it is not. Shut up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Alright.
Alright.
I got nothing to add.
Worst episode ever.
So on the heels of our 155 view episode 19 comes this.
Yeah. 2 listeners.
Yeah.
And they're very disappointed.
The same person who like accidentally clicked on the show and then decided maybe I'll give it another try, then goes away. All right. Let's call it.
All right.
This has been Critical Junction episode 20. I'm Mark.
I am Luke.
I'm Jill.
As always, thanks for listening, and we will catch you again next time.
I'm very sorry.